I guess you can call this a cold open. Carlee Russell, for you to have all of the resources and opportunities that your parents worked hard to provide for you to be on track to be some of the best and brightest that this community has to offer, and for you to choose to do this with your time is disgusting and deplorable. The way that for 2 days, you pulled at the heartstrings of all of your surrogate Black internet aunties, for every mother that has lost a daughter to trafficking or abduction, and for concerned citizens, male and female alike of all races. I really think that you need to be ashamed of yourself. I really hope that the elder women of your community, I hope that your sorors got a hold of you and they really set your mind straight, because there was nothing about this that was cute or funny or acceptable. With all of the gifts and talents and opportunities that you have in front of you, I hope that you don't squander any more of them playing these crackhead games and taking these prison chances.
What you did was you wasted a lot of government resources, and you're going to pay for that. We need to reserve our jails for people who are genuinely a threat to the community. Although we're very upset about what you've done, you're not a threat to the community. I'm not going to treat you any differently than I would treat any other first-time nonviolent misdemeanor offender. Accordingly, it is the judgment and sentence of this court that you're sentenced in each of these cases to 6 months in the county jail. These sentences are consecutive with each other, and these sentences are suspended. You're placed on probation for 12 months, it's supervised probation. It's a condition of your probation that you pay full amount of restitution, which is $17,974.88, paid to the city of Hoover.
What's up, brownies? My voice is leaving me, so I'm going to make this quick. First and foremost, we must not revise history as it pertains to Carlee Russell, because this case is pivotal. Let us never forget that law enforcement did not go looking for Carlee Russell because they wanted a young Black woman to be safe. Statistics and history shows that you all don't put any effort and resources into looking for Black girls. Law enforcement went looking for that white child. That's what you all spent your resources on. Regular concerned citizens went looking for Carlee Russell for free. So let's be clear on that. Carlee Russell is being punished for wasting law enforcement's time and resources looking for a white child that didn't exist.
I'm also sentencing you to serve, and this is a condition of your probation, 100 hours of community service. I understand that you're currently getting mental health counseling, is that right?
Yes, sir.
It is a condition at this point of your probation that you continue getting mental health counseling, and I'd like to see some proof that you're getting that counseling when we come back.
Now that I've said that, I want to just ask the Black feminist for a moment here. As you all continue to lend your voices and forces to feminism, I want to ask you what you thought about the AG.
First of all, this case has always been about respect for law enforcement and respect for this community as a whole. Ms. Russell faked a kidnapping, duped the community, and contrived this situation. We still, Judge, don't know to this day where she was, how she got there, what she was doing, with whom she was doing it with. It is our contention that she should get some jail time. I understand that it's a misdemeanor. I do. But because of the effect that it has had on law enforcement as well as on the community, we feel even if it's weekends in jail or nights in jail, that some sort of incarceration is warranted in this case.
Pay attention to the fact that now that even when you have women in positions of power, those women, they don't use their positions of power to help you or to benefit you. Feminism and how I've never really seen it benefit Black women in the same way that it benefits every other woman. Nobody was harmed in this so-called crime. For you to be screaming about some jail time is warranted, you would not say that about anybody other than a Black person. Let's be 1000% clear. So I just wonder, for Black feminists, I was just curious as to what you all think about this. Tell me in the comments. And I just want to be clear that the reason why I'm adding an extra racial component into this is because the world does, this country does, the police do. When there is a white person calling the police, even if they are flat out lying in order to cover up their own crimes and they're blaming a minority for it, the police spring into action. When you give a description of a non-white person doing a white person harm, they will spend days, weeks, going into black areas or using the whole stop and frisk type of rhetoric repackaged in order to harass non-white communities and people, accusing them of a crime because they fit a description that's not even specific. You understand what I'm saying? And oftentimes, people can end up incarcerated or detained for several days. They don't have the money to get out. People lose their job while they're being held up on some bogus charges. So it is very important that you steward your privilege correctly. And then you also need to know about the times where the person who is calling for help actually ends up being the one that is by the police. That can happen, and not just to black people, to white ones too. So you may want to keep that in mind as a white person. When you call 911, you can get an overzealous or inexperienced cop, and you might end up causing harm to yourself. But also know that they have a nasty habit of, when they show up and they see a black and brown face, just without even asking questions. It costs people's lives when you do things like this. So this is why the Karen Act needs to be enacted. Something as simple as calling the police on a black person who's barbecuing or selling water or whatever. These things can have very real world consequences to the person that you're calling a police on, that we just simply do not see happening in the same way if the police are called on a white person. Are there exceptions to every rule? Sure. But in general, non-white people really bear the brunt of overzealous police when you call them for nonsensical reasons. And this is why I'm hoping that the Carlee Russell sentencing actually is a catalyst to spin the block and look at this Karen Act again and get this thing passed into law nationwide. We need to put penalties and punishments in place for people who are calling 911 for no other reason other than you are annoyed by the person standing in front of you. And I really feel like the components of her punishment that mandate probation and community service and mental health counseling need to be put in place for people who abuse the 911 system.